Welcome back to Shum's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over your sun sign and its relation with numerology. A lot of people have not actually pointed out the fact that your sun sign directly correlates with not your exact life path number, but it correlates with a number. So the same way you have a life path number, expression number, birth number in numerology, you have like a big three, I would say, in astrology as well. And those are the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign. If you're somebody who's more accustomed to numerology, I would say that looking at it from this perspective of my video that I'm about to make will help you identify what your sun sign actually wants from you. Because your sun sign is quite literally it's like a version of your life path. It's what you're meant to sort of grow into and become. So if you understand more about it, when you relate it with the number, you might start to see what your overall purpose in life is. So let's begin. Aries represents the number 1. It's the first sign. Aries being like the number 1 means, think about Aries, cardinal fire energy, the sun, number 1, sun, very much the pioneer starter energy. Aries is meant to be aggressive, be assertive, be a leader, be sort of domineering, authoritarian. They're meant to be that person that leads from the front, and they serve their people very well for their overall purpose. So they're willing to sacrifice more to get things done. The same exact way the number 1 is in numerology. So it's actually the exact same expectations. If you have an Aries sun sign, you need to look at what number 1 is like, what its traits are like. You need to be that person that's very effective when it comes to leading groups. You need to be that person that's very self-assured and be very goal-oriented. That's how you win. Next one, we have Taurus. Taurus is definitely like the number 2. Taurus people are always like to be stable. They like partnerships. They like to feel grounded. The same way the number 2 is very much about diplomacy, cooperation, and overall wealth. The thing why the Taurus will be a wealth sign, it's because it's an earth sign for 1. And then 2, funny 2, it relates with the 2 because 2 is also a very wealthy number and people overlook it a lot. But you need other people to make money. Number 2 people are experts at knowing other people and identifying their character, what they like, what they don't like. 2s are more obsessed with other people than themselves. Taurus people, if you want to win, you need to be more obsessed with other people than yourself in a certain degree. You need to start studying people, their behavior, certain patterns, their mannerisms, and you can use that to build and develop wealth, whether you go into like real estate, interior design, wedding planning, what have you, photography, it could be anything. But you need to start seeing how to network properly, how to work with other people, and you'll start to see that more money is being made for you. Gemini, number 3. Think about Gemini for a second, guys. Gemini is a sign of communication represented by Mercury. Number 3 in numerology is represented by Jupiter expansion, but it's a number of communication. So when you understand that, you start to realize that astrology and numerology are actually one and the same ideology. They're teaching you the same things with different symbolisms. Gemini being the 3rd sign is all about creative expression with your words. You can make a lot of money with your words or with writing. Same thing goes with number 3. You can make a lot of money with your words or with writing. As long as you don't lie on other people, you won't face bad karma. But you definitely will incur a lot of fame. The same way the Gemini actually wants to be noticed to a certain degree and recognized for their skill set, for their intellectual repertoire. All right. Number 4, Cancer. This one I found really interesting because at first I couldn't figure out how they relate quite necessarily. And then I started to realize the number correlation with Cancer. Number 4 is usually considered the black sheep within the family. In Cancer, when you look at the 4th house, is all about family. Cancer people typically either have a great relationship with their family or a really, really deep bad one where they have a lot of emotional wounds from family that make them insecure sometimes for life. If you're a Cancer person, you need to focus on stability the way the number 4 would when it comes to your finance and being self-sufficient. You need to look at careers that involve things like banking, management, human resource, linguistics, things like that work quite well for you guys. But you guys overall work really well in financial institutions. A lot of Cancer people get confused, like, what do you mean? I'm like, you guys are very good with money, with currency. Currency is like water. Water, you guys are a water sign. You guys are good with the flow of money very naturally, the same way the 4 is like a secret wealth number. You guys, Cancer is actually one of the most, I would say it's up there when it comes to the most wealthiest signs. When you understand that, you start seeing the correlation between the 4 and the Cancer. It being the 4th sign, you guys get a lot of money when you overcome your family issues for 1, but you start going on your own way and not being ashamed of it by having emotional control and understanding and compartmentalizing certain parts of your life, especially the traumatic parts. Number 5, just like Leo for sure. 5 is all about traveling, adventure, fun, performance-based, very hyperactive. Leo, we all know, is like the performer of all of the astrology signs for sure. So when you start realizing that, you start seeing that, okay, a Leo's very prideful, but they usually have a fear of not being liked by the crowd, or not being liked by their peers, or not being accepted, or people just don't quite understand or misinterpret them. Number 5 people don't really care about that. And that's what you sort of have to embody, is a sense of saying, you know what? I'm a Leo, but I'm the 5th sign. So I'm meant to just show people how to live fearlessly. When you understand how to show people how to live fearlessly, you'll actually get more luck and then more power, because you become that leader that the Leo is meant to be. If you guys want to extend explanations on this, by the way, I'm just giving you pinpoints. Just send me a DM or whatever and tell me what your sun sign is, and we'll go through it in that way as well. For Virgo relates to number 6 very well. When I look at the 6th house, it deals with material transaction, and it also deals with health. Number 6 people usually have a problem. Look at the shape of the 6 is like with obesity and so forth. You have to focus primarily on health when you're a Virgo, for sure. Virgo people usually are very technical, very analytical up here. They can work very well with their hands as well because of the blessings of Mercury, but they tend to, they can lapse on their health at times. Either they're very anorexic, some Virgos are very like obese. Now, life path 6 people are definitely, they usually go on the obese side of things because they're just enjoying life. So what you have to do is, if you're a Virgo, enjoy life, yes, focus on your health, have a very disciplined gym regimen. And you can also consider careers if you're a Virgo in the health field, and it'll be very good luck for you. And data analytics, is also very good. You'll very much succeed in places where other people will fail, because you guys notice the minuscule details that other people do not. 6 people are just like that too. They're good for your interior design, detail-oriented work, because 6 people are obsessed with beauty. So they look at different things and they'll notice one thing that's off in a room. They'll notice one thing that's off in a person's outfit, whatever. So when you're a Virgo, understand that you have the energy of the 6, which means you have a bit of perfectionism in you. You could be a bit of a nitpicker. You could be very intense. But if you look at even somebody like UFC President Dana White, he has that 6 energy, and then he uses it to make very, very good grand scheme pay-per-view events that are very performance-based, and pretty much you can argue almost are outdoing boxing now with pay-per-view views. So if you have that number, or you have that sign, you have to look at it from his perspective of, especially if you're a Virgo, let me extract certain traits from the 6, or do a career based on what the 6 likes, because that'll actually give you more luck, even just with your sun sign. Now I'm just teaching you guys how to combine astronumerics, astrology, with numerology, so you start seeing how this stuff can come together, and you can start glitching your own chart by yourself. Next one I would say is the Virgo. We have Libra. Libra being the next one, relates to number 7 a lot. 7 people are really self-righteous. They're very spiritual. People overlook the fact that Libra people are very spiritual in life. They're all about justice. Yes, Saturn's exalted there, but the 7 relates with the Libra a lot because of its spiritual mysticism and because of its intellectual capacity. This is a cardinal air sign. The 7 is considered to be the genius number. A lot of Libra people are very, very smart. You got to use your gifts with what you're interested in to excel in life. So you have to look at, am I interested in things like aerodynamics? Maybe I'll be an engineer. Am I interested in law and arbitration? Do very well there because of Saturn's exaltation. You'll do very, very well there. But what you guys have is, because of the 7, you guys are very analytical and very much able to research. So you got to use that air element, that cardinal element, to start new businesses or start something new, and then use your intellect to see it progress even more, the same way the 7 would. Next one we have is the number 8, which relates with Scorpio. Scorpio is the 8th sign. 8's the number of darkness. Saturn runs it. Scorpio obviously is run by Mars or Pluto, depending on how you look at it. And it's a dark sign for sure, just the way the 8 is. It makes money in some unscrupulous ways at times. It's very obsessed with, I guess, the tabooish things of life, like sex, smoking, taxes, death, recreation of self, transformation. Look at the 8th house. It's the scary house. Tells you how you're going to die, all this other stuff. The 8th the same way. It wants the death of oneself to bring up a new one, and you self-actualize in that way by finding your higher self. If you look at it from that perspective, you realize that as a Scorpio, you should have a primary focus on money and karma, but you need to focus on it in a sense of not necessarily having like a great status, but how can you be most effective by achieving wealth. 8 needs to achieve wealth. That's, they find their spirituality by hunting down more and more money. They soon see how to manifest, and they see that money actually doesn't mean anything, and everything that they needed was actually just inside them the whole time. You'll come across that on your journey as a Scorpio when you start going after things that you want, because you start trying to manifest, so you start working with the energy of God. Next one we have is Sagittarius, number 9. They definitely relate. Sagittarius is an ideological sign. The 9 is the number of ideology and having different perspectives and then bringing things to completion. When you look at Sagittarius, it's the last of the single digits as well. It's the 9th sign. It's all about teaching, counseling. They're very good with when it comes to academia. They're top scholars. People that have Sagittarius can do a very big host of things when it comes to being like even travel agents. I'd argue they can do that. I'd argue more they could do like things like counseling or being a professor or teacher. That's where they shine the most, when they're teaching something that they're actually interested in. This can go past like the conventional stuff like school. You can do that in a sense of actually doing it on the internet the same way I am. I'm teaching you right now. You can do it online, teaching through TikTok, Instagram, maybe starting your own website, copywriting. All of those things apply. When we move on now, it gets interesting. So the last 3, believe it or not, are actually more related to master numbers. And people wouldn't even see this because they're going to say, well, Aquarius is the 11th, so it should be there. Not quite. The 10th sign, Capricorn, will actually resemble the 11th life path a lot. Here's why. The Capricorn is a very influential sign that has to learn through discipline. 11 has to learn about emotional discipline in order to manifest. If you have Capricorn as a sun sign, your main key component is that you have a lot of self-control compared to other people. You're very grounded. You want to keep that self-control, but you want to focus on having more of a wider influence and not being too pessimistic the way the 11 would. The 11 is very good for being in athletics or politicians or overall like motivational speakers as a whole, or just influencers. As a Capricorn, you can actually get into things like that depending on other portions of your chart. But as a sun sign archetype, you can actually do these things and be very, very successful when you actually focus on how much people am I actually trying to influence? How much value can I produce? Just think about it. Aquarius relates with 22 a lot, with the 4. Aquarius usually feels like the black sheep the same way the 22 minimized to 4 feels like the black sheep. The 22 has master influence. The Aquarius is a fixed air sign, different from Libra that was a cardinal or Gemini that was immutable. Aquarius is a fixed air sign that has a very big reach. So it's very logical in building, the same way the 22 is, a very logical builder. So you can use that as you will. You can build businesses of sorts, online networks. You guys make a lot of good money on the internet, of course. You just know the web is where you have the most advantages. So just take advantage of these things to build a concrete foundation for yourself. The final one is Pisces, relates with our 33 the most. Pisces is very sensitive, very family oriented. 33 minimized to 6, number of family. So you'll find that Pisces people are overly sensitive, the same way people that actually have the 6 are very motivated by their emotions. They want to be happy. They want to fit in with their family. So if you have that longing or feeling of missing out with your Piscean energy, you need to relate it with the energy of the 33 and realize that you're meant to go through traumatic experiences. You're meant to go through emotional fluctuations to mature more and in turn to teach other people the same way the 33, the master teacher, does. All right, so that's a summary of how numbers in the signs correlate. If you guys have any questions for me, just leave it in the comment section for me. Aside from that, like, subscribe. Holla at me. It's it for today, guys. Peace.